Well, hello everyone and welcome to the webinar. Thank you for those of you who have been waiting for a few minutes. We just had so many people joining that I thought I'd wait just a couple of minutes after the hour so that we can have as many people join. I'm Dr. Rosina McAlpine and it's lovely to have you here, and I'm very pleased to be partnering with your EAP Benestar. They want the best for you and your family, and that's why they've put on this webinar. From my heart to yours, I really feel for you in lockdown for the second time, in self-isolation with numbers, of coronavirus. So please know that I'm here to do all I can to support you, to give you as many tips as I can during this webinar, and know that my heart, is going out to all families, and I want to support, as do the Benestar team, to help you to be your best you for yourself and for your family. Now I'm going to take myself off video so that you can focus on the presentation, and I'll come back at the end, but please feel free to interact and to engage with me via the question box. All right, let's get going. So supporting children through COVID-19, I would like to just start with the outline. The first thing I'm going to do is just do a quick introduction on the impact for children right now. We've got some research that I can give you about what's happening with kids in self-isolation. Then we're going to talk about 7 things that we can do, 7 strategies that we can do to support our children through COVID. And the first one starts off with self-care. Second is limiting media access. Just excuse me 1 second. I've just got some people that are struggling to hear, and I just want to let them know that it's at their end. Because so that they know that it is going. So first things first, self-care. A lot of people are struggling with the sound, but I'm not sure why. Can I just get a check one more time that everybody can hear that this is only some? Yeah, great. Thank you, everyone. Okay. All right, I'll stop now. So obviously it's just some people haven't got it right. Thank you. Okay. Self-care for parents, limiting media access, making time to reassure, teaching kids soothing and calming techniques. So staying healthy in lockdown, tips for remote learning, and focusing on the positive, which is the loveliest thing we want to start on. All right, there's going to be surveys all the way through because we want your input on the help that you need. Now, I always start my webinars in the same way. This webinar is for educational purposes only. I'm not here to give you any advice. I just want to give you good information, good strategies, so that just so that you've got tips, strategies, approaches, information to really support your family at this time. All right, let's go. Now, this is an interactive webinar. Thank you very much to everyone who has been interacting, and we'll appreciate any comments that you've got, any questions you've got. Know that your responses are only seen by me, so therefore it is private and confidential. Now, your feedback matters. Obviously, we want this to be the best program it can be for you, so please offer your feedback and comments before you leave today. Type them in the question box, and we'll pass them on to your employer. And finally, in the last 1 minute, we're going to overview some other programs that can support working parents in lockdown, so that you can learn about those. All right, the first thing I want to do is learn about your family. So I'm just going to launch the very first poll. The first poll is, how old are your children? Now, some people are typing in questions, which is fantastic. Someone's just said, is it normal that my 7-year-old is behaving like a toddler or a baby? Absolutely. For those of you who can't answer on the poll, please make sure that you type it in the question box, and I can add that and observe that as we go through. So we've got about 83% of people voting, 84. I'm going to close the poll now and share it. Thank you, everyone. And here, so that you know, we've got about 15% of you have the real little ones, 0 to 2. 34% have got 3 to 5-year-olds. 47% have got 6 to 9-year-olds. 32% have got 10 to 12-year-olds. 29% have got 13-plus-year-olds. So we've got everyone from toddler through to teenagers. So don't worry, I'll be giving you tips for everyone. Someone else said, is it normal for my teenagers acting like toddlers as well? Someone said it's more than 100%, and the answer is yes, because you might have more than one child. So you'll have to have, if you've got two, you've got a child in 0 to 2 and a child in 6 to 9, there will be more than 100%. Okay, let's go. It's a very confusing time for our children. First of all, they were in school. All of a sudden, the coronavirus hit, worldwide pandemic. They were indoors and it was very confusing. They had to do, you know, homeschooling, working from home with us, trying to entertain themselves while we were doing conference calls. And then there was the happy transition back to school for some children and not the happy transition back for others. Some found it very difficult going back. And then after all of that, as if we hadn't had enough change, here we were back in self-isolation, back in lockdown with the second wave. So I really do want you to know that I'm feeling for you. We understand Benestar and the team at Benestar are trying to do the best to support you. This is a challenging time for parents and for children. This is a major event, worldwide major event. And now people in Victoria, families in Victoria are going through it twice. So that makes it an even bigger challenge. So now we're all off kilter. So what can we do? Now, you know, a lot of people are typing into me, my children are playing up, acting up. So I want to show you that it's perfectly normal. There's been a research study of over 10,000 parents who have completed a survey at the University of Oxford. Oh, sorry. Thank you. There's been a research study at the University of Oxford with over 10,000 parents completing the survey. Parents and carers of primary and secondary school children, and, you know, have been reported at increasing behavioural issues. So if your children are temper tantrums, whether they're toddlers or teenagers, whether they're restless, fidgeting, poor attention, whether there's more arguments at home, whether they're not doing what was asked, it's completely understandable, because think about it, they've been through so much change. Now, I'm just going to quickly flick through my slides again, because someone just mentioned to me that my slides weren't showing, that I still had the poll showing. So I want to just quickly go through this so that you can see the big changes kids have been through. They were at school, pandemic hits, now they're at home trying to do homeschooling and working with parents. Then they have these happy transitions, yay, we're back at school. Some maybe not so happy, some kids found it very difficult, and some of you have been typing that. And here we are back in self-isolation. No wonder it has hit us off kilter. All right, so the thing that's important is there is no typical reaction. That your children can have a whole range of reactions. They can feel sad, teary, grief, and loss for missing their friends. They can feel fearful, anxious of dying, getting sick, parents getting sick, grandparents dying. And it's true, someone's just said, this sounds the same for me as an adult. Absolutely, we can feel this as well. Anger and mixed emotions, withdrawn and detached, confusion and decreased concentration, traumatized. These are all reactions that our children can experience. Now, some children will be unaware. Our little ones will not know, and they will behave as usual. They're like, yay, it's just holidays with mum and dad at home. Some kids are just really, really resilient and they're able to cope. Others are just unconcerned and a little bit reckless. And some of our teenagers have been, accused of that. Other various reactions is that they're more insecure and clingy. People are saying, I just can't get my work done. I've got my little ones, in my lap. They're complaining of headaches and stomach aches. They're not wanting to sleep. They're acting out. There's a developmental regression. For those of you who said your kids are acting like toddlers, that developmental regression is absolutely normal with a major event or a major child. And as is being pointed out here, when a child has a learning difficulty or a physical disability, absolutely it's even more difficult. And people are saying, yes, true, constant hugging and kissing, very clingy. It's, oh my goodness, letting my children down. It's so much to do at once. Separation anxiety, absolutely. Hypervigilance. And adolescents feeling so, some children are constantly washing their hands. Yes, absolutely. Developed OCD with hand washing. All of these things are perfectly normal under the circumstances. But please, please keep, someone said, my kids are constantly asking why we can't do this. I will absolutely address that by the end of the webinar. Adolescents feeling isolated. Be very careful with them. They can turn to drugs and alcohol. People have been saying to me that my teenagers are raiding the alcohol cabinet. So please keep your alcohol out of the way and watch your kids if they've got, suicidal thoughts or things like that. Get the help you need straight away. So the question I'd like to ask you right now is to fill in the next poll. How are your children coping? Are they overwhelmed? Are they just hanging in there? Are they doing well most days? Are they managing everything okay? Are they up and down? What's happening with your children? Obviously, the more challenges that your children have, the more challenges you have, the more difficult it gets for you. So it's important for workplaces to understand how your children are doing, not just how you're doing, because your well-being, your effectiveness is going to depend on how well your children are doing. So it's fantastic that you're here to get strategies on how to help your children cope. For those of you who are saying the poll isn't working for you, either move from full screen down to part screen or type into and yes, it's different with each child. Yes, so you can answer more than one. You can answer more than one for each different child. So absolutely, one might be overwhelmed and one might be managing everything. Absolutely. So please feel free to answer for more than one child. Absolutely. For those of you who are doing really well most days, please make sure that please make sure that you let us know what you're doing and I can share it with the group. Okay, I'm just going to close that and share it now. So here are your responses. 9% are overwhelmed, and so make sure you're getting the help that you need, like whether they've got social anxiety and they're not working very well. Things are not working very well at home. 19% are just hanging in there again. Hopefully the tips that you'll get today will help. 41% doing well most days. Please write down your tips of what you're doing. And someone's saying going out for almost an hour every day. Yes, being outside, making sure that there's a routine. Some people are saying routines for kids. Being outside, playing in the backyard. Get off technology, going for a walk. A lot of people are saying yes. Leave the house, trampoline, regular exercise. All of these are fantastic keys to making a success of this situation. Thank you. Thank you, everyone. All right, so what can parents do? Let's get into this. What can parents do to support their kids? I love this image, of dad or mum just holding and uplifting their children, to be able to support through this, difficult time, because they do need us. They need to be able for us to support them. So no better way is to check if you're okay first. Now, for some of you, as we just said, children are not coping very well. They might be teary, angry, upset. How are their emotions affecting you? Perhaps working remotely with remote teams is just too much. You're just finding it really hard to get your work done. Perhaps family life is challenging. The house is a mess. The kids are running amok. They're grazing all day. You can't get a handle on housework or work time, and it just feels a little bit too much. If you've got children with special needs, even more difficult. Perhaps you're struggling to keep up with the homeschooling or your work. The question is, are you okay? Are you okay? Look at all the things that are on your plate and make sure that you're okay. And if you're not, remember, seek support. Benestar is your EAP. Contact your EAP to get support that you need. So make sure you talk to your organization, talk to EAP to make sure that you've got the help that you need. Don't leave it till things are out of control. Get the help for yourself. And then if you've got challenges with your family, talk to the EAP so that you can talk those through. So I'd like to ask again for a quick poll. Remember, this is confidential. How are you managing in this current environment? How are you managing in this current environment? So what is EAP? Employment Assistance Provider. That's Benestar. This is who's organised this webinar for you, and they are there to support you if you've got challenges at work. So you can talk to your HR manager, or if you go on your intranet and type EAP or Benestar, you should be able to find the link that you need for EAP. So that's there to help you. So please fill in the poll. Yes, people are saying, I feel like I'm just hanging in there, but I'm also doing well. Absolutely. Absolutely. This is such a difficult time. If you're hanging in there, you're doing well. You're very doing well. Really hard for mothers. Yes, absolutely. Homeschooling, trying to do all the work. And we know with the research that mums are taking. Someone else has said, thank you. EAP has helped me so much. So for those of you who haven't used it, please know that you can. Yes, make sure you get the help that you need. All right, I'm now going to close the poll and share it with you. So 7% of you are feeling overwhelmed. Make sure, yes, particularly tough for single mums who don't have any support. Absolutely. 28% just hanging in there, 26% doing well, 3% managing very well. Again, please write down what you're doing so that we can share it. And most people are up and down, which makes perfect sense. Not taking care of yourself is absolutely something that's crucial, and I get that. And that's why it's very difficult. It's very, very difficult for mums and for dads who are doing the predominant home care and childcare. Absolutely. And then, taking care of elderly parents. I totally get that. So the question is, have you been taking time out for self-care? Have you had any time to take time out for self-care? What are you doing to take care of yourself? Most people are saying, no, I can't, no time, not at all, maybe just a walk, a little bit of time. Does Uber Eats count? Yes, it does. Too tired for self-care. Yes, mindfulness. So it looks like some people are doing it and some people are not. Absolutely. But very, very important for you to take care of yourself. Why? Because you are the role models. You are the role models for your children. If you're not taking care of yourself, then you're not going to be in a really good position to look after your children. So step number one for taking care of your children is to put on your oxygen mask. Put on your oxygen mask. I know we can't fly anywhere at the moment, but really important when you get on the plane, the first thing they say, in an emergency, oxygen is going to fall from the cabin roof. Please put it on yourself. Put your oxygen mask on for yourself first, and then onto the children. And someone says, how do I put on a face mask and an oxygen mask? Good question. Spend some time meditating. All these things are fantastic. If you can just take a little bit of time to look after yourself. Now, what might that look like? It might be taking a nap. If you've got really young children, taking a nap with your children. It could be doing some exercise with the kids, or someone said online yoga, going for a walk, a workout online. It could be just sitting down and having a chat with your kids. And someone said, I do online yoga and I get my kids to join me. I do exercise every morning. I do cooking with the kids. These are all been making masks. Awesome. Taking naps with my baby. It makes such a big difference. Awesome. 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 Kick a footy in the park. Get takeaway. All of these things are all fantastic self-care activities. Now, if you're not doing them, please start doing them now. Anything that's going to bring you a little bit of mental and physical peace, physical relaxation, physical exercise, meditating, winding down, mental health, all of those things are really, really important to make sure that if you can take care of yourself, you'll be taking care of your family. Someone else says, planned chats with friends after the kids are in bed. So important, friends. I do the same. Debrief with friends, chat with friends. Virtual hugs. Absolutely. Yes. Fantastic. Zoom, wine time. I love it. These are all fantastic. So people are saying, I don't have time to fit in homeschooling work, etc. This is where you need to find that 5 minutes, the 5 minutes for a power nap, that 5 minutes for a bit of a stretch, that 5 minutes for sitting down with a cup of tea, that 10 minutes to close your eyes and listen to some nice relaxing music. Find that 5 minutes, 10 minutes, and then you can build it up. Now, we really, really want to understand what additional support you're needing at this time. So we want to understand what your current challenges are. So I'm just going to put up a poll now. If you could please let me know, what are your current challenges in isolation? Is it creating routines and schedules? Is it keeping the kids happy and healthy? Is it parenting on the same page with your partner, whether your partner's in the house or you're parenting from 2 different homes? Is it maintaining positivity? Is it just feeling a bit flat at home? Is it supporting your child's self-esteem and resilience? Are you just worried about how they're going to be, at the end of all of this? You can pick as many challenges as you're experiencing. What are your main challenges now? I've got 3 of these. So at the end of these 3 polls, if you haven't seen the topic that you're interested in, of course, please type in what you feel is important. So we've got about 69% of people voting. I'd love it to be about 80 if possible, but remember there's another two polls that I'm going to be doing shortly that will have other challenges that you might be experiencing. But we really need to understand what your biggest challenges are right now. Are there any final votes before I close the poll? Most people are saying all 5, then pick all 5, click them all down. You can have as many as you want of these. We just need to know what are your biggest challenges right now. So I'm just going to close the poll now and share it. So probably what we're finding the biggest challenges are children's self-esteem and resilience, followed closely by maintaining positivity, followed closely by keeping kids happy and healthy, followed closely by creating routines, and finally parenting on the same page. It looks like over time we're kind of getting that sorted, which is awesome. All right, now step number 1 is self-care for you and your children, okay? So even if it's only 5 minutes, so that's going to help our kids through. If you're in a good space, you're in a great space to help your children. So find that 5 minutes to listen to some relaxing music, to ring up a friend and have a complaint or a laugh, to watch that funny meme, to do that Zoom call with a friend, whatever you can do. Now, the next thing is limiting media access. Oh, awesome. Someone said, this is my self-care today. Thank you for joining me. Thank you. What an honor. That's absolutely awesome. Now, one of the things that's really scaring our children is the media. They're hearing people are dying, the numbers are growing, you're in lockdown, 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 lockdown. So important if you can. Any kids, they say for children under 8, don't let them watch the news, don't let them listen to the news. They're just so negative, right? It's scaring them. That's not to say you don't want to tell them what's going on. I'm not saying that. I'm not saying that. I'm just simply saying that if you can keep your young children away from the media, away from news, away from radio, away from newspaper articles that are sensationalizing what's going on, and talk to them, that will be the best. However, I get it. There are kids, teenagers that are going to be on social media, on the media, and there's nothing you can do. There's nothing you can do about that. So you need to sit them down and explain. What you're seeing in the media is only a very small part of what's happening in the world. Very, very, very important. Someone said, we need North Korean media. Everything is perfect on TV over there. Or New Zealand. Yeah, right. I agree with you. Let's do that. Let's get some positive TV going. Now, someone says, what if you are the media and working right next to them? I absolutely understand. I get that situations are difficult, but where possible, don't let them listen if you can to the scary, or otherwise debrief them afterwards about it. Now, when you're educating your children about the media, explain, yes, there are people dying and that is so tragic, but there are more people recovering, and the more we protect ourselves and the more we stay in isolation, the more we do, we're going to eliminate this. Just like countries like New Zealand and North Korea, all of these, we can give them the positive news stories as well, and tell them that media always focuses on the negative and the sensationalization, because that's what gets people attracted to watching and learning more. But there's a whole lot more of good stuff going over there, where there's a whole lot more healthy people not getting well, not dying from it. So please, step number 1, take care of yourself with self-care activities and get the kids joined. Step number 2, educate your kids about the media, and where possible, limit the media. So you're just saying, children, the news was not written for children. So if you watch the news as an adult, then you can relay that to the children. They say that media is written for children for the age of around 12, but again, if you've got children who are very sensitive or scared, don't let them watch it. So someone's just said BTN, behind the news, is good for children, but even that, you've got to, it's good for some kids, but not for others who are highly sensitive and worried about it. So always hear your children's view if they've watched behind the news. Okay, so step number 1, take care of yourself. Step number 2, limit media access so that you're not scaring them. But of course you want to be informed. Some people were saying, yes, I wait till the evening, or I check it on a website. I don't listen to it in front of the kids. Number 3, and this was a point someone was, making, hear your kids' view and offer them your view. Make time to talk. Now, I know you've all said, I'm so busy, I'm working, I'm homeschooling, I'm trying to, cook dinners, I'm trying to get some exercise in, I'm trying to clean the house. I get it. We are all overwhelmed with so much to do. But it's really important to make that 5 or 10 minutes to talk with your children. If you can say to your children, every single day we can talk to you over dinner, or before bed, or first thing in the morning over breakfast, or when we're going for a walk. That's the time where we've got the captive audience. When we walk the dog, we do our walk talk and we check out what's going on. Someone else says, when we sit for dinner, we talk about the big stuff. And sometimes that comes up, with kids with just before bed. Now, for those of you who have got children who open up at 8 o'clock at night, which is what I do, I absolutely have a child that does that. You'll be singing and putting a child to bed, and you'll be having this lovely conversation, and then they'll drop a bombshell on you. So we try and get our child to bed half an hour before bedtime actually, because he'll oftentimes bring something up. So yeah, it's really important to have a special time that you know you can talk to your kids. Now, that's whether you've got a toddler or a teenager, opening up those conversations. And you don't have to, someone else just said, I find my child opens up on the walk or a ride. The same with us, or at dinner. Talk about something good that happened today, or what are the big things that have happened today. That's awesome, doing that positivity. Now, be available to listen, because sometimes they won't want to talk now. They might want to talk later. So it's just open them up. And as I said, walk talk is very non-threatening. So it's just, how do you get them to open up? Start a conversation. How specific questions would be things like, so what's happening today for you? What did you really like to do today? What was something you struggled with today? What is something you'd like to improve in our family life? What's something that you aspire to? So just simple words, like just something very simple. Or I noticed when you were doing your maths work today, you were kind of struggling. Is that true? Do you need a bit of extra support? So just get those specific questions going, rather than how are you? How are you is not generally going to get it. Talking about your day as well. Invite your child to share and open up. Answer questions as truthfully as you can. Remember, we don't want to be lying to our children. You know, very, very important to tell them the truth as much as you can. So, you know, and yeah, someone said, how do you balance being able to talk and an excuse not to go to bed? So if you've got kids that are using that excuse, you can say, no problem, our talk time's not going to be before bed anymore. What we're going to do is have our talk time over breakfast, or our talk time over the walk, right? So absolutely. A lot of people are saying our favorite part of the day is nice ninja over dinner. Nice ninja equals a secret nice thing you did for someone to the day. Oh, how nice. That's awesome. And share your feelings. Really important to share your feelings, and then they can share theirs. So let's say you were feeling a bit anxious today. You can say, look, you know what? I was feeling a little bit anxious today. You know, my team weren't working as well as they could have, and I was worried that we weren't going to get everything done. But I took a few deep breaths. I sat down and worked out a strategy about what we could do. I checked in with all my team members, and you know what? We're back on track. So by sharing your feelings and the strategies you can use, you can reduce your children's, you know, anxiousness. As we've just said here, just making time to be together is reassuring. Explain the situation as normal. The whole world is experiencing this. We are not the only country in lockdown. Many countries, many states around the world are also in lockdown, but there are many who are not. So that means we can get over this. We will be able to return to our normality in time. Some kids won't want to talk, but they may want to draw or journal. They might want to write, or just scribble if they're very young children, and that might help with them. As I said, we want to really understand your needs. So I'm going to share another poll and see what your next set of parenting challenges are. So please put down time for self-care, because I'm hearing many of you are saying that you're not taking care of yourself. Your other challenges, of course, how do you make homeschooling work? I'm going to give you some tips for that today. We've talked about self-care, little small self-care activities, but there's so much more we could talk about. Limiting screen time is not something we're going to be able to talk about in this webinar. There's just not enough time. And managing emotions, and we will talk about that right now. We're just going to talk about how to help your children soothe and calm their emotions. So I've had about 72% of you vote. Why not? I would love everyone to have their input. What are your current challenges? What are you struggling with the most? What do you want to, you know, learn more about? We want to understand, what are your struggles in self-isolation? What's happening with you? If you can't vote, type it in. Type it in to the question box, and I'll add it to the poll. I'm going to close the poll in 5, 4, any last minute votes, 3, 2, 1. Have your say. Close the poll and share. Okay, so the poll results are that time for self-care is way up there as the biggest one. 62% of you are saying you're struggling with that. So we've got to be able to find ways to have better self-care for yourself and for your family. Homeschooling followed quickly by limiting screen time, worrying about the kids, and managing emotions. Well, I'm glad you mentioned managing emotions because we're going to do that right now. So I want to just quickly talk about the tips again, just to catch you up. So tip number 1, take care of yourself, even if it's only 5-minute nap, you know, a body scan, a bit of meditation, a walk around the house, whatever it is that you can do. Tip number 2, limit media access so you don't freak the kids out. Number 3, making time to talk and reassure. And then when you find out what's going on with them, you can help teach soothing and calming techniques. So our little ones, we know from the research, I told you, they're more agitated, they're more upset, they're more angry, they're less focused, they're acting out more. We know that with our kids because they're in, they're in lockdown. They need to be outside running with their friends in the wild at preschool, at school, at high school. We understand that. And it's such a challenge. So first things first, what do you use as a self-soothing technique? What do you do? Do you walk away? Do you take a breath? Do you have a glass of water? Do you ring a friend? What do you do? Do you tag team with your partner if you've got a partner? What do you do when you're upset? Breathing, meditation, mindfulness, all of those sorts of things. What can you do? Ring a friend, walk, whatever it is that you can do. Have you shared that with your kids? Have you actually sat down with them and said, you know what, when I'm doing my work and I just don't feel like I can do anymore, I close my eyes and I take a few breaths. I get up and I do some stretches. Someone else says, I reframe the situation into a more positive way. I pass on to my partner. I high five the wife, all of these different things are the things you can do. And do you tell your kids? Do you share with them calming techniques? So sit in prayer, absolutely. All of the things that you can do in your family life. Count to 10, turn in a circle, go for a run or a walk. These are all perfect strategies. So first things first, here's a quick technique you can teach your little ones, right from toddler right through to teenager. So you can have a breathing activity. You can have the 2-step process where you get kids to breathe in for 2, hold for 2, breathe out for 2, hold for 2. And you can do that 3 or 4 times. If you've got older children, you might do breathe in for 4 counts, hold for 4 counts, blow out for 4 counts, and hold for 4 counts. And so you can say, okay, everybody, stop. Let's do the 2-step breathing process, the 4-step breathing process. Or you might want to do a mindfulness activity. So for example, and yes, it's true, some people are saying, I've got children on the spectrum and calming is hard. Absolutely. I absolutely agree that some kids are able to calm better than others, but little by little by little, find what that thing is to calm, whether it's holding something soft and patting it, whether it's hugging themselves and rocking, whatever it is that helps your child. Hugs and show love, absolutely. Naming feelings, all of these things can really, really help. So a mindfulness body scan. So for example, go, everybody stop, stand up like a tree or sit on a chair. All right, move your head side to side. Oh, relax your neck. Relax your jaw. Poke your tongue out, in and out. Relax your jaw and tongue. Now, tighten your fists and let them go. Tighten your fists and let them go. Roll your shoulders back and roll your shoulders forward. All of these things can really help your children. Just giving them little activities. Calming self-talk. You're going to be okay. I'm going to be okay. Everything will be okay. I've solved it in the past. I'm going to solve it now. I've always been able to solve my problems. So you can give all of these different activities. Another one that's really beautiful, I love this activity, is hand holding. At night when you're, got your kids in bed and you say to them, you know what, sometimes when I feel a little bit worried, and I feel like I'm a little bit alone, what I do is I put one hand inside my other hand and I hold it. I close my eyes and I imagine that someone's holding my hand. Okay, give it a go. Close your eyes, put one hand in the other, hold your hand. Now, sometimes at night, if you feel a bit lonely, you can hold your own hand. You can imagine that it's me or dad or your grandma or your best friend holding your hand. And you know what the best thing is? You can always hold your own hand. You'll never, never, never be alone because your hand will always be there to hold you. You'll always be there to tell yourself that everything's okay. You can always, always, always rely on me. Someone's just said, I've told my child that there's an invisible string linking mum to the child through their heart, so that whenever they feel a little bit lonely or a bit scared, they just close their eyes and know that the invisible string is linking them. These are all beautiful. So just give it a go. Just give it a go. All right, now you might want to do more. Yeah, it is so sweet. It works so well. I still use it myself, and I love holding my own hand when things are a bit, how you going? I just like lie in bed. It's such a soothing thing to know that you'll always be there for yourself. You've got this. You say it. I've got this. I've got this, right? So someone's just said there is a book called The Invisible String, used to help children deal with grief and loss and death because there's an invisible string. That's beautiful. I tell my girl I'm always in her heart and her heartbeat is me patting her. Oh, I love that. These are so beautiful. Okay, so you might want to be a bit more sophisticated with meditation, yoga, and of course, do it together. But why not? Now's the best time to give meditation and yoga a go. Now, does your child need professional help? Sometimes it's just not going to be enough. What you need is actually the help of a professional. So how do you know? Well, first of all, if you're unsure, just reach out straight away. Call your family doctor. Very important, very important. If your child's symptoms, behaviors worsen, if they've got severe reactions, if they're unable to return to normal daily functioning, if your child is talking about self-harming or suicidal thoughts, make sure you get the help straight away. All right, so we're up to tip number 5 now, but I want to go back over the tips. Tip number 1, self-care for you and self-care for the kids, even if it's just a tiny bit of time. That 5 minutes to close your eyes, that 10 minutes to stretch, that 15 minutes for a walk around the block, whatever you can do for self-care for physical and mental well-being. Step number 2, limit media access. If you cannot let kids listen to that news, that scary, people dying, more cases, lockdown, and with your teenagers, make sure you're regularly checking in and telling them about the media, that they're not getting the full story. Third tip, make sure you've got time to talk with the kids, whether it's in the breakfast, at the walks, at nighttime before bed, special talk time, whenever that might be, having rituals like, what was the secret thing that you did that was kind for somebody else, or what was the best thing that happened today? In our house, we do 3 highlights. What are your 3 highlights from today? And because there's 3 of us, that means we get 9 highlights every day. Number 4, teach your children soothing and calming techniques. Teach them emotional regulation with those little exercises we were talking about. Number 5, staying healthy in lockdown. Now, this is a big, long list, and so you only have to do a little bit every day. We're going to be in lockdown for a little while now, so why not? Okay, let's focus on the eating. Let's just do some healthy meals. Let's focus on the hydration. Let's focus this week on water, making sure we're drinking enough. Let's focus on our sleep, right? Maybe we could focus on making sure we've got exercise. What about relaxation? What about order and cleanliness in the house? What about routines? So let's do the basics of healthy eating. I know you don't have time to be preparing gourmet meals. Aren't these two so cute? It's about healthy meals and healthy snacking. So with snacking, if you've got fruit and vegetables cut up, kids are more likely to eat it if it's ready to eat on hand. So first thing in the morning, trying to get up, um, get the carrots peeled and cut up, the long string beans, the hummus ready for dipping, the watermelon cut up, the everything ready to go so that you've got, someone just said, I make my daughter a lunchbox at the start of the school day, whether she goes to school or not. Perfect. So you can prepare that together. So cut it up and get kids to help with the preparation. Fill those water bottles. Have a water bottle monitor. Someone's cutting up the fruit, someone's filling up the water bottle. Oh, someone's just said, this is so depressing. Seems like we have more to do. No, that's why I said do one thing at a time, just one thing at a time. I certainly don't mean to do that. If you can't manage that, just fill up the water bottles. Getting more water into your children is so important. You are not, I'm so glad you said that. Please don't feel that way. This is not what we want to do. So just one thing that makes a difference, a bit more water, a bit more fruit. And these are, as someone said, are these things only for kids? No, absolutely. They're much as important for children as well, for adults as well. Maybe one week you want to focus on sleep. Okay, let's all get to bed a little bit earlier so that we have a little bit more rest. So we're a little more rested. And that goes for our teenagers too. Maybe you want to confiscate that phone rather than leave it in bed so that they're, on it all night. Get your kids together to be part of the team. Yeah, oh, I'm glad you like the idea of monitors. Assign the roles. Someone fills up the water bottles. Someone cuts up the fruit. Someone, maps out or has a good idea for exercise today. Maybe they can be in charge of the exercise routine. Now, helping and being part of a team. You know what? Sitting together and saying, you know what? Life is so much easier when we all cooperate. Straight after breakfast, we all clean up the kitchen. Straight after lunch, we go and tidy up the bathroom. Straight after dinner, we all sit down and relax, right? Yeah, I want to move into the house on the slide too. I agree with you. It's beautiful, isn't it? And with 3 lovely kids that are going to help you clean up the house as well. Yeah. So the last poll that I want to do for today, and if I've missed one of your challenges, please, someone says, I've become a slave. Don't become a slave. Make sure you get those kids helping, get them helping you, even if it's just for 5 minutes, just a small thing. Oh, I'm so good that someone says, I'm really doing all of these things. That's awesome. That's so awesome. Just be proud of yourself that you're doing so many things. Be proud of yourself. And if it's too much, then slow it down. Take a few things down. So if you want to vote on these ones as well, do you need more help on nutrition, hydration, exercise, and sleep ideas? Simple ones. Do you feel like you need a bit of help with siblings arguing? What about positive parenting approaches? What about communicating more effectively with your child or your partner? And if you've got others, please type them in, type them in, type them in. Type them in, type them in. Keep typing them in. We want to know what your challenges are. We've got about 63% of you who have voted, and it's fantastic if we can just get 70, 80%, that would be great. Please give me your votes and I will close the poll now. Excellent. Thank you, everyone. Oh, well done. We've gotten up to 74%. Everyone's done so well. All right. Closing and sharing. All right. So definitely the biggest 2 are positive parenting and how to communicate. Straight after that is siblings arguing and nutrition. And thank you for everyone who's typing in all of their ideas. I really appreciate that. So now we're up to tip number 6. So let's do a quick rundown so we don't forget what we've done. Tip number 1, self-care. Tip number 2, limit media. Tip number 3, make time to talk to the kids. And tip number 4, teach them soothing and calming techniques. Tip number 5, stay healthy in lockdown. Just do what you can, whether it's water, maybe a bit more fruit, maybe a bit more exercise, or a bit more sleep. Little changes. Now, tips for homeschooling. Now, the most important thing, I've spoken to many teachers, and the most important thing is to be patient and gentle on yourself and the children. And of course, a bit of respect for the teachers too, because they're really struggling as well. So be patient on yourself and your children. Don't try to do too much. Remember, kids' concentration spans are very short right now, just short bursts. 5 minutes, then 10 minutes. I mean, imagine if you get the kids going for 5 or 10 minutes, you can do 5 or 10 minutes of emails. If you get them for 15 minutes, you might be able to start writing a report. Just start on those short bursts and be very gentle. You don't have to do all the homeschooling. Teachers have assured me of that. Now, the only exception to that is obviously children who are doing their leaving, who are about to try and get into university. Obviously, there's very difficult. They've got more to do. I absolutely understand that. But for all of the others, don't stress too much. And it's very hard. 3 different children, 3 different levels of learning. A nightmare. Do a little bit by little bit. And try and find a quiet space for them to study and learn where possible, sometimes in earshot, to make sure they're not doing anything they shouldn't. Most people say that some kind of schedule, a handwritten, a rough schedule really helps, like, some routines. Wake up, eat breakfast, make your bed, get dressed, morning walk, get started on get that energy exercise going. Some people are saying private schools also expect work done and grades. So have a chat with the teachers. If it's getting too much, talk to them about that. Someone said we plan every morning together. That's the best way to do it. And then, have some creative time, have some lunch time, some chore time, all of that is really important to have a go at. Now, you might want to have that red, orange, and green. Tips for, when your kids can disturb you and come and talk to you. Red, do not disturb unless it's an emergency. Orange, come and see me if it's important. Green, free to ask questions, and try not to have too many red times. And then obviously if you're struggling, ask the teachers for help. There's no teacher that wouldn't understand if you've got 3 kids that, it's going to be very difficult to manage it all. So make sure you're talking to the teachers. Now, the larger the family, the more organisation. Yeah, the traffic light idea came from another parent. It's a brilliant idea, isn't it? So when you share your ideas, I share them with others. Make time for fun. The bigger your family, the more organisation. Now, the last tip is about positivity. A lot of kids are saying, I can't go out, I can't see my friends, I can't go to school. So instead of focusing on what you can't do, tell your kids to focus on what they can do. We can be together. We can enjoy the simple things. We've got a warm bed. We've got a hot shower. We've got healthy food. We can laugh together. We can watch a movie together. We can go for a walk. We can ring our family and friends. So every time they say, I can't do this, you go, I know, I'm sorry. But guess what? We can do this. Someone said they were talking about Anne Frank. Beautiful history lesson, and talk about how lucky we are. And we can build a fort. Yes, we can. That's awesome. So have fun together. The most protective factor for your children is your relationship with them. So spend time, have fun. Where possible, I know it's not always easy, but where you can, avoid that telling and yelling. It just makes things worse. Try and role model that empathy, teach those life skills, and help your children to thrive during this time. Now, for those of you who are interested, we have, other programs. If you're a manager and you're managing families and you want to know more about the programs that we have more interactive webinars and online programs on self-care, on managing emotions, on creating flexible routines, keeping kids happy, healthy, and engaged, reducing screen time arguments, positive approaches to parenting, overcoming sibling rivalry, increasing positivity and resilience, These are, you know, all effective communication skills. These are all the programs we've got. So if you're interested, please type into the question box and we can send information to your organization. Now, we would really appreciate your feedback. Has this been helpful to you? I hope you've really enjoyed this webinar, that you've got your 7 tips, that there's 7 things you can walk away with. And even if you only do one, just do one, you'll make such a big difference in your family's life. So if you could please type your comments, and if you wouldn't mind just answering this very last poll. Was this webinar beneficial to you? Do you agree, strongly agree, or disagree? So if you could just fill in the poll, that would be fantastic. I hope this has been helpful to you. And for those of you who have found that you disagree that it's helpful, or that you're undecided, it would be so helpful for you to let me know, what was it that I could do to improve? What could I do to improve to help you, so that this could be, you know, this could be more beneficial for you, that you could get better ideas. So thank you everyone for your votes. I really appreciate it. I really appreciate all your feedback. I will make sure that I pass this on to your organization. So thanks everyone. Please stay safe. I hope I've given you some strategies that you can actually put into place. And if you do nothing but take care of yourself, that would be a brilliant strategy to put into place. My best wishes to you and your family. I hope this lockdown is over really soon. We just need to take care of ourselves. We are all in this together. Take one strategy and make a difference in your family life. Drink more water. Be a little more positive. Do a little more exercise. Take a little more self-care. Get that cup of tea in that magazine or that book. Get that online music or dance around with the kids and have a great time. Whatever it is, you can do. So for each of these strategies, you can make a very big difference. Someone's just said water instead of barista brothers iced coffee. Are you kidding me? Well, maybe you could swap them. I really hope that you can benefit from the strategies that we've had today. We've only had an hour. We had a lot to cover in an hour. So my sincere best wishes to you all. Take really good care. Before you leave the webinar, if you could leave your comments, that would be fantastic. But I really hope, I love this picture. Let's hope that we all come out on top after this with new strategies, with new courage, with new resilience to handle anything that life throws at us, yeah? And for all of you parents who are being down on yourself, you stop that. Be kind to yourself. Please, please be kind to yourself. You are doing a great job. Know you are doing a great job. This is difficult circumstances, so please pat yourself on the back, give yourself a cuddle, and tell yourself what a great job you're doing. And it is definitely, definitely okay not to be okay sometimes. We have to have the help when we need that extra help. Talk to your friends. Talk to Benestar if you need extra assistance. Oh, I will pat and cuddle myself. That's so cool. If you need that extra assistance, you contact Benestar. That's what they're there for. They'll be there to help you. Thank you everyone for being here. It's 1 minute past the hour. I really, really, oh, hold my own hand. Yes, yes. Not long enough. I know. I wish we had more than an hour, but I'm so glad that you found this beneficial. Thank you for all your feedback. Thank you for all your care and wishes for me, but know that my thoughts are with you, my heart's with you, and I hope that these 7 strategies can make a big difference in your family's life. Just do one at a time. Now, if you are in charge of well-being at your organization and you'd like information for more sessions with your working parents, please contact your customer relationship manager or contact Benestar, or just type in here that you would like the information and we can send it to your organization. Take care, everyone. Hope to see you again on another webinar. Bye for now.